Once you've had success with your practice laminate, now we can go ahead and move on to your regular flitch. Now I've taken a few shots of this, so there's already some tape on it. You might want to put some tape on the inside of the hollow or on the outsides where it's the most dramatic. There probably won't be a lot of fracturing right here, but there may be in this transition. Again, probably not a lot right here unless you already have fracturing, but I just went ahead and put some tape on it for good measure. Now, we're going to have already planned out where our laminates are going to go, and we did that with the plastic, the practice laminate. So now that we have that figured out, let's take the first piece. Let's get it lined up with our lines, our guidelines, evened out, and then we'll take a lot of tape, more than enough tape. Yeah, about that much. We're going to go ahead and get that one lined up, and you might need to make a tiny adjustment. There we go. So I'm only going to tape one side down, and then I'm going to sneak in the rest of my laminates. When I sneak in the rest of my laminates, I'll need to tape them together so they don't move around. I think the nose and the tail are going to be the best place for this. Oh, again, I was using this. Nose and the tail will be the best place for this. We don't need that much. I do want it to be able to slide around just a little bit, not too much. Go ahead and pinch the nose so we can get this over the top of it. Another piece of tape and do the back side of it. Again, it should be able to slip a little bit. We're just trying to keep it from sliding a lot. Okay, perfect. So now that I have that, I'm going to go ahead and bend it with the tape just slightly. When it bends down, okay, that's going to be fine. That's going to be fine. And now I can move everything out of the way. It says, with the confidence from practicing the dry clamp, try with the veneer laminate. You're not going to use glue. This is a dry assembly. You're going to go ahead, once we're done with this, you're going to leave this clamped overnight, maybe as many as 2 days, so we can start getting this pre-bent. I liked starting on the head. I'm going to put some right here, get that underneath, and then I'm not going to really pull a lot until I already have some touching the clamp. Throw that over the top, bring this down, pull it, make sure that I've left just a little bit of the nose, so I'm going to pull that up, and then rotate. Keep pressing down when you rotate. I'm going to move this out of the way so I have good traction with the inner tube, and then I'm going to start moving down my form. And just keep moving down your form. If you need to take a break, go ahead and let the tension out. Right? This isn't something that needs to stay in tension when you're learning how to do it. I've got a little bit of deviation in the tail, but not too much, so I'm going to keep pursuing it. And I'm seeing that I'm not going to get good clamping underneath the, when we do this for the real one, so I'm going to go ahead and change it a little bit on the next one when we use glue. But I think we're there. I'm going to go ahead and put this back in. I don't know why the veneer seems to be easier than the paper. Get that going right there. And then once I pass that, I really can put this underneath, maybe twice. And I think that I've got good, even. I don't see any air bubbles or any spots where it seems hollow. I think we're ready to glue. To glue, you're going to need a wet paper towel, a dry paper towel, your glue. You're going to cut the smallest hole in this. I like to use a squirt bottle when I'm gluing, mostly just for my hands. If your hands are dry when you're gluing, you might have a hard time with it. Got my paper towels. This has been out for a little bit, so I'm going to re-moisten that. I've got my glue. I've got my clamps, my veneers. Crack my back. Let's do this. Okay. So there's two things we talked about this week or last week or maybe 3 weeks ago. And one of them was called open time. Open time is the amount of time that the glue is open to the air, that it can dry, but isn't dry yet. I need to remove this tape. I should prepare that tape. So I know how long it was. I'm going to grab it, I'm going to tear it, and I'm going to put it off camera. So I need that piece of tape, but my hands will be a disaster when I need it. Okay, I need a piece of tape, and that piece of tape needs to be about that long. So I'll grab that piece of tape, and I'll prepare it off, and I'll leave it off camera. I might even try and reuse that piece of tape, but you won't have the time or patience or mental clarity to find that piece of tape when you need it. I'm going to open this up. It is now or never. If it is not now, then don't do it. Okay? The dry assemblies needed to go perfect. You should be doing this during class. Okay? I'm going to make the smallest cut that I could have possibly ever made. This glue is runny enough. And then I'm going to squeeze the glue out on number 1. Oh, I felt it squeezing through the top of my hand. It doesn't need to squeeze through the top of my hand. Okay, perfect. That's more than enough glue. I'm going to get my fingers wet. Maybe I'll use a squirt bottle. Make sure the squirt bottle didn't actually have a Windex in it. And then I'm going to spread the glue around. And what you're going to realize is glue is slick. I'm going to keep the glue away from the edge. We will get squeeze out all the way to the edge. Almost to the edge, but not all the way. So we're not going to glue both sides of number 1, but we are going to glue both sides of number 2. Making sure that we're keeping them in the right orientation. You'll start to see them buckle. That's because there is water inside of our glue. And so now that we're adding this moisture, woo, the clock is on. Okay, so now I'm going to take number 2, I'm going to put it over on number 3. And what you've just realized is, oh my gosh, this is going to be a mess. Yep. So hopefully you're watching this first before you attempt it. You're getting all the tips and tricks. Now it's wanting to buckle because there's moisture on one side but not the other. So make sure you're making good pace and progress. You were very prepared before you took this on. And preferably I'm on mute in the background. You cannot be rude interrupting me during a glue up. I promise. Okay? The last thing I will do is be mean to you because you interrupted me during a glue up. It's like front of the line pass, right? If you glued up a project wrong, if you glued your finger to your forehead, please interrupt anyone. It's kind of an emergency. Maybe putting the glue on a little thick. Put it on a little thinner. hot dog. Take some of that glue off from over here. Perfect. Put that glue right there. So now I got number 3 going on number 2. And then I put the glue over here. So the close time begins at the end of our open time. And our open time might only be as much as 15 minutes. Kind of just depends on the weather, how hot the material is, how warm and dry the air is. That's really what open time is about. Close time begins. Close time is the amount of time that once you've put the 2 pieces together, and not right now, do you see how they're kind of buckling? Well, if I wanted to cheat, I could maybe spray this side a little bit, and that could, well, it might not, but it could convince that bottom piece of veneer to calm down. Because what's happening is only one side of the veneer is getting moisture. Now both sides of the veneer will eventually get the same amount of moisture. Right? They'll find like common ground or homeostasis or whatever that's called. But for right now, oh man, we are unevenly moistening this this project, and that's really why I'm putting glue on both sides, is because I would like for the center parts of the panel, oh look, what you can see is it's already calmed down. Just by putting a little bit of moisture on the other side. It was not getting enough attention, it got a little bit of attention, and now it's calmed down. If you have siblings, you absolutely know what that's about. All they wanted, they didn't even need glue. They didn't even want what you had. They just, they wanted you to know that they knew it. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. And now we can move on. Now once they got their Xbox controller that is not connected to the game console. Now we can continue playing. Okay. I'm going to take my extra glue off and put it on laminate 6. Because that's coming after laminate 5. Go ahead and throw that on over. Oh no, I got glue on the back. Oh, it doesn't matter because that's not the back, that's the inside. But we will want to be mindful of where we're gluing up. Someone may not be patient with you putting glue everywhere. But they signed the consent form. I don't have to hear about it. Oh, Mom, if you're listening, I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. Dad's already over it, but I don't know. Mom, Auntie, Grandpa, they're really annoyed with me right now. So we're going to go ahead, get this going, moving some of that extra glue on over. Isn't it crazy that because we knew, ooh, that would have been bad. You see how that tape is inside laminate 6? We would have never got that piece of tape out of there. Isn't it crazy that we understood how the water warped the wood? And so we were able to combat some wood technology. It's almost like that was part of the class. Should really come up with a really good name for this class, like material science. No. Wood science. No. Tree science, no. Botany, no. I wonder what would be a good name for this class. So, oh, my hands are dry. And when my hands are dry, what it ends up doing is it dries out the glue. So I'm not trying to thin the glue with the moisture on my hands, but I don't want the glue to dry out. So now I'm only going to be putting glue on one side. And so it's going to want to buckle up like that last piece. So, buckle, I don't mean buckle like we're going to keep the birdie safe on the drive down to San Diego, we got to buckle up. No. I mean that it's going to want to warp and distort. And so, we could do that same thing where we put a little steam on one side. Not science, technology, engineering, math. No, that's not what we're talking about. Not that steam. We're talking about humidity. Just put a little bit of humidity on one side of the bird so that it would stay flat. Okie doke. Okay, this is not the time to take a break, but it might be the time to clean a little bit of the mess that you made on the table. If the glue is wet, it will clean. If the glue is dry, like a booger, it'll clean pretty well. If the glue is hard as a rock, it might break whatever you're trying to get it to do. Okay. We can already see some buckling in the veneer, and this is why the clamp is so important. I'm going to go ahead and wipe my hands off. See if I can squeeze some glue out. Clean the edge a little bit. The more cleaning I do right now, the less we have to do later. You don't need all of this squeeze out. Okay, so now that we have this all lined up and you're realizing, oh my gosh, this is the slipperiest thing I've ever seen, right? This is like one of those hamburgers that you go to take a bite out of and everything just flies out of the back. Well, good thing you listened and you prepared these pieces of tape ahead of time, or else you'd be very stressed out. Okay, so those are all lined up. Those are all good to go. Those are all lined up and good to go. I put the tape to the tape. I go to the tail. Ooh, I don't like that. Oops, I just took a piece of tail off with me. That's why that was still there. Oops. Well, oh well. The tail's getting reshaped. Okay, that will be right there. Get this all lined up. That all lined up. Okay, maybe I can get that piece back in there. This would be the time. Just shove it back on. Okay, we can recover from a lot of mistakes on this project, but the misalignment of veneers is going to take a lot of work if we don't address it when we can. Okay, so now I've got this good to go. I'm going to wipe down my hands one more time. I'll wipe down the table one more time. Again, it's just going to transfer around and make a big old mess if we don't address it. Do the kindergarten thing where we pull it off our fingers. We're going to line up our line so that everything's good to go. Get inside of the tape. Bring the tape down. We are not gluing up with this blue tape, okay? So it doesn't need to be perfect. Make sure things didn't move. Here it comes. So we're going to go this way, go around. I'm going to put good pressure down right here. Okay. So I want it to be lined up on the head. I can actually see it through the glass. So it's okay if you get your fingers stuck in there. You should be able to pull them out. Okay, I've got it there. I'm going to squeeze it, push it down. Squeeze it and push it down. Don't forget to travel down the bottle. You don't need a lot of overlap on the inner tube clamp. And what should happen is each time you do this, you get a little bit more confident in your ability to do it, and you need less and less clamp. You do not need as much clamping pressure as you can get out of these inner tubes. Okay? We are not trying to break the inner tube. So once I get past that, I'm going to hold it. I'm going to grab my half round dowel rod. I think I'll put it underneath my thumb. travel around. Get right there. I don't want that to keep that from clamping, so I'm actually going to bring this dowel rod further down. Give it a really good squeeze, make sure I'm over the piece. Really, really good. Good pressure there. Now I'm going to take the leverage that I have here so I can get that underneath there. I mean pinky, very little pressure because I have so much leverage. I'm going to travel up that. You can even get this up so that you can tuck this whole mess underneath it. Make it a little thicker. That's beautiful. I'm going to go ahead and tuck more in. And if this were to fall apart on you right now, well, slow down. It's okay. I hope that everybody has a clamp up that goes just as well as that. I think it's well within your ability to. I think that I could have more pressure right there, but you know what? I know it's going to glue. So if I wanted more pressure right there, well, there's that layer. There's that layer right there. So I'm just going to pull it up and press it on down right there. And that was all I had to do. So I don't know what date it is for you, but I'm filming on February 4th. So February 4th, 2021, and I believe it's about 5:30 p.m. That means that I can take this out on February 6th. Probably, and it's going to end, I wrote it right here. It says that you can barely see it. That means I can take it out on February 6th. Reality is I'll probably take it out on February 7th. That'll be a Sunday, I think, or Saturday. Thank you so very much. Good luck. Thanks for following along. It says, make sure to leave it in clamps for 48 hours, at least 2 days. Congratulations, you glued up.